Ventify is a digital installation built using video game technology. It's a collaboration between arts organisation Collusion, archaeologists at Cambridge Archaeological Unit, and young people from Cromwell Community College in Chatteris.
We're doing it at Cromwell Community College because it was closer. It's kind of knowing our own history.
We wanted to learn about the ancestors of the Fens, and what better way of doing, who's better at doing that than the Fen members.
The project was in two halves. First of all, we created a digital replica of the settlement based on what we know from the archaeology. The second part of the project was about the people in the settlement, so we wanted to work with young people from the local area to really think about who they might have been, what their lives were like, what they would have spent their days doing.
So part of our kind of role as archaeologists is not just looking at the artefacts, but also looking at whether there's any evidence or traces on the artefacts themselves that tell us how they would have been used by the people at the site.
We started learning about the settlement and what they discovered so far.
It was just in this above this river, and we don't know if there's there could have been loads next to it, but we haven't been able to find that yet.
They've discovered many pots, a razor, which was one of the things that they thought were discovered later on in history, but they've managed to find a thing. And they found some old food that had some mysterious seasoning.
One thing about the site that I found quite intriguing was that in the actual houses there were sheep that they kept in the houses, so they kind of just slept with them. So you could just wake up to a sheep in your face in the morning.
So we ran a series of workshops at Cromwell where the young people used a lot of really cutting-edge technology to create characters and objects for the settlement.
Some of the items were all in, not the items but replicas of them. So you had some of the replicas of pots, which was really cool. You had replicas of weapons. All this sort of stuff is made just experimentally. Just to see how they would use it and that sort of stuff.
Some of the workshops focused on making things, so we looked at the replica objects that Chris from CAU had brought and made some of our own, which you can actually see in the piece.
We were trying to use photogrammetry, which is basically this thing of where we go around the object and take pictures and pictures and pictures and try to load it into the game generator that we're using to create this in, so we can show everyone what it was like or what we thought it was like.
But the really interesting bit was when we started to think about the people and what we'd need to bring them to life as digital characters.
Well, first we definitely had to think about what sort of things they would have to do life to life. So they'd have to get food, so they'd probably forage because they were in the fens and everything, and they'd probably have to get meat because meat was in their diet, as we saw from the food remains or their poo.
So in one session we drew up character sheets of the kind that you'd use in a role-playing game to really start to sort of put ourselves in the shoes of these people and really think about who they were.
And we gave them characteristics of teachers here at Cromwell Community College.
So real people of the Fenlands, as it were?
Yeah, we based on real people of the Fenlands.
The Bronze Age people themselves, the ones you can see on screen, were created using MetaHuman, a piece of software that makes super realistic characters. And we used a new kind of motion capture technology that uses AI to take movements from people in video and apply them to the MetaHuman characters.
We had to think about how they would react to each other and to the actions they would do with each other and that sort of stuff.
We used this technology to build up a library of movements that could be used to animate the people. So we had to think really hard about how you would live in these weird round buildings with these woven floors above open water, how you would move around.
In the buildings they were in, we think it was very cramped because if there's animals coming in and then loads of people, and so therefore we did stubbing a toe because then it makes it more of a realistic. Obviously it's very random doing it in a library with people.
So these are the actual props that we used for acting these scenes out.
This was to replicate the style of the axe that they had discovered at the settlement. We utilised the resources available to us, like the people of the Fenland.
I thought you'd actually code them in and move them pixel by pixel, and I thought it'd be a lot of work. You do these actions in real life and then you put them into the actual game as with the characters. With the thing we're trying to do now, we're trying to almost fill it out so it's making it look more lively, but we don't know what happened in the settlement really. So it's a bit of a guessing game, but we're trying to go off facts that we found to kind of make them sort of things happen.
So a big part of the project, in fact the main reason behind the project, was to really get young people thinking about their own heritage and the archaeology of their landscape.
Even looking at this project here, which is a big thing for Bronze Age back then, it could definitely show the world a lot more about what happened back then. They're almost trying to uncover the future in these things they find underground.